Thanks for watching On Call for All Kids. Today we're talking about back to school checkups. We'll discuss why it's important to schedule a visit with your pediatrician now, what's typically discussed in a well check, and how parents can help ease kids back into a school mindset. I'm joined by Dr. Rachel Dawkins. She's the medical director of the Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine Clinics here at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. And it is so great to see you, Dr. Dawkins. Just actually saw you for my boys' well checks recently. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you again, Ashley.
So, a lot of parents aren't necessarily thinking right now it's the middle of summer and I should go ahead and schedule those well checks for my kids and them going back to school. But why is that so important?
So it's hard to believe that kids are going back to school. A lot of parents will kind of have school sneak up on them and forget that they need their back to school physicals. And so a lot of offices are jam packed with patients that first week of August. So if you want to make sure your child can get in for their back to school physical, to make sure they're caught up on vaccines, and if they're playing sports, make sure they have a sports physical, I would make sure to call your pediatrician's office soon.
And what is typically discussed at these preventive care visits?
Yeah, so we talk about a variety of things. So we talk about development, we talk about growth, we talk about puberty and adolescent patients. We check vision and hearing, and we make sure they're caught up on vaccines. On top of that, we're also talking about lots of good anticipatory guidance and safety. And so making sure that your child is as ready as they can be to go back to school.
And when are those immunizations required for school?
So in the state of Florida, we think about kindergarten and seventh grade, but really the ages are about 4 and 11, which don't necessarily correspond to those times. But schools will be checking to make sure your child is up to date on their vaccines, especially at kindergarten and seventh grade.
A lot of these kids will be playing sports when they go to school. So, what's special about those sports physicals? What's different about those?
On top of our regular physical exam, we focus a lot on any previous sports injuries a child may have. We look at family history, maybe of heart disease. We talk about concussion. We make sure that their body is developed and mature enough to play sports. So it's a little bit more specific of a physical exam than your typical physical.
And what about the first day of school? What should parents know about that?
Yeah, so kids might be nervous to go to school, especially if they've been virtual for the past year or if this is a new school for them. So, try to do things that might make them feel comfortable. Maybe a test run to the school if they have a chance to meet their teacher for the year. Maybe making sure they have a friend or buddy that's in their class or maybe on their bus or on their walk to school that they can pair up with so they already feel a little bit more comfortable in going back to school.
And what else can parents do to help ease that anxiety?
Yeah, so I think those are the major things about, making sure that they have a buddy, talking to them about how fun school is going to be and recognizing that they might actually be nervous and talking to them about their fears.
A lot of kids guilty of this too have kind of gotten out of that regular sleep pattern that they're used to during the school year. How can we ease them back into the school type of sleep schedule?
Yeah, so over the summer, it's very common that parents have relaxed bedtimes, that kids are staying up a little bit later. As we head back to school, it's important to get into those routines because sleep is so important for kids learning. And so instead of trying to switch them back to their regular schedule right before school starts, it's a good idea to start now, backing up the time. So if your kids are going to bed an hour or two later, start making bedtime 15 minutes earlier every day until you get back into your normal sleep routine.
Well, Dr. Dawkins, thank you so much for joining us. We love you as our very own pediatrician, and we really appreciate all this great advice on going back to school and those well checks.
No problem. I hope everyone has a great school year.
Thank you all so much for joining us today as well. Don't forget, you can also visit our website. It's hopkinsallchildrens.org/newsroom. You'll find a lot of great topics in pediatric healthcare and other wonderful resources for your family. We'll see you next week.